Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. Gulliver's Travels is a satirical novel that follows Lemuel Gulliver, a ship surgeon, on his voyages to fantastical lands. Over the course of 4 distinct journeys, Gulliver encounters various strange and extraordinary civilizations. In Lilliput, he finds himself among a race of tiny people, while in Brobdingnag, he encounters giants. His 3rd journey takes him to the floating island of Laputa, inhabited by eccentric scientists and intellectuals, and in the final voyage, he discovers the land of the Huhyanhums, a race of intelligent, rational horses who rule over the savage, human-like Yahoos. Through these adventures, Swift satirizes human nature, politics, society, and the flaws of human institutions. Gulliver's Travels is both a fantastical adventure and a scathing critique of the follies and hypocrisies of the 18th century. Let's deep dive into the book. Gulliver's Shipwreck and Arrival in Lilliput. Lemuel Gulliver, a ship's surgeon, sets sail on a voyage, only to be shipwrecked during a storm. He washes ashore in the strange land of Lilliput, where he finds himself captured by tiny people only 6 inches tall. Despite being a giant among them, Gulliver is treated kindly and eventually earns the trust of the Lilliputians. The Lilliputians, though small in size, have a complex society with intricate politics. Gulliver learns about their customs, government, and social structure, all while marveling at their size and intricacy. His arrival in Lilliput marks the beginning of his eye-opening journey into the absurdity of human nature. Political intrigue in Lilliput. As Gulliver becomes more involved in Lilliputian society, he is caught in the middle of a political conflict between Lilliput and its rival nation, Blefuscu. The 2 nations are at odds over a trivial matter: the correct way to break an egg, which has led to a long and bloody conflict. Lilliput's emperor tries to manipulate Gulliver into using his massive size to help them dominate Blefuscu completely. Though Gulliver initially assists by capturing Blefuscu's fleet, he refuses to further subjugate the people, angering the emperor. Gulliver's moral stance reveals Swift's satire of the trivial and ridiculous nature of human political conflicts. Gulliver's escape from Lilliput. Tensions between Gulliver and the Lilliputians increase after he refuses to help them crush Blefuscu. The Lilliputian court begins to conspire against him, planning to blind and starve him for treason. Realizing his life is in danger, Gulliver escapes to Blefuscu, where he is welcomed as a guest. After spending some time in Blefuscu, Gulliver builds a boat and manages to sail away, eventually being rescued by a passing ship. He returns to England, reflecting on the pettiness of the Lilliputians, but his desire for adventure soon drives him back to sea for a 2nd voyage. Gulliver's journey to Brobdingnag. On his 2nd voyage, Gulliver's ship is blown off course, and he finds himself in Brobdingnag, a land of giants. Now, Gulliver is the miniature figure among people who are 60 feet tall. He is initially taken in by a farmer who exploits him as a curiosity and shows him off for money. Eventually, Gulliver is presented to the Brobdingnagian king and queen, who treat him kindly. The size difference between Gulliver and the Brobdingnagians serves as a reversal of his experience in Lilliput, and the novel explores how power dynamics shift based on size and perspective. The Brobdingnagian king's critique of Europe. During his time in Brobdingnag, Gulliver shares stories about European customs, politics, and institutions with the Brobdingnagian king. However, instead of being impressed, the king is horrified by Gulliver's descriptions of European wars, political corruption, and moral decay. The king critiques European society as savage and barbaric, offering a stark contrast to the rational and peaceful world of Brobdingnag. This critique forces Gulliver to reflect on his own homeland and its flaws. The giant king's moral superiority serves as Swift's critique of European arrogance and the perceived civility of Western society. The floating island of Laputa. In his 3rd voyage, Gulliver lands in Laputa, a floating island inhabited by scholars and intellectuals who are obsessed with mathematics, music, and theoretical knowledge. The Laputans are so consumed by their intellectual pursuits that they are disconnected from reality, needing servants to bring them back to practical concerns. The island of Laputa floats above Balnibarbi, a nation suffering from the impractical experiments and governance of the Laputans. Swift uses the Laputans to satirize the dangers of abstract intellectualism and the impracticality of some Enlightenment-era scientific pursuits, which can neglect the real-world needs of people. The Struldbrugs and the Curse of Immortality. During his travels, Gulliver also visits Lugnag, where he meets the Struldbrugs, a race of people who are immortal. Initially, Gulliver is excited by the prospect of eternal life, imagining it as a blessing. However, he soon learns that the Struldbrugs do not remain young. Instead, they age forever, growing increasingly decrepit and miserable. The immortals are shunned by society, cursed to live in a perpetual state of decline. Swift uses the Struldbrugs to critique humanity's desire for immortality, showing that eternal life, without the relief of death, is a curse rather than a gift. Gulliver's final voyage to the land of the Houyhnhnms. In his final voyage, Gulliver arrives in the land of the Houyhnhnms, a race of intelligent, rational horses who live in a society based on reason and logic. They have no concept of lies, deceit, or greed, and they live in harmony. The Houyhnhnms rule over the Yahoos, savage human-like creatures who embody the basest instincts of humanity. Gulliver is horrified by the Yahoos and comes to admire the Houyhnhnms' rational way of life. He begins to detest his own species, viewing humans as little better than Yahoos. This final voyage pushes Gulliver toward a deep misanthropy as he idealizes the Houyhnhnms and rejects humanity. Gulliver's rejection of humanity. As Gulliver spends more time with the Houyhnhnms, he grows increasingly disillusioned with humanity. He comes to see people as inherently corrupt and driven by selfish desires, much like the Yahoos. When the Houyhnhnms decide that Gulliver, too, is a form of Yahoo, they politely ask him to leave their society. Gulliver reluctantly agrees, but his experiences leave him permanently changed. Upon his return to England, Gulliver is unable to reconcile himself with human society. He views his fellow men as Yahoos and isolates himself from his family and friends, preferring the company of horses to that of humans. Swift's satirical vision in Gulliver's Travels. Throughout Gulliver's Travels, Swift uses Gulliver's adventures to satirize various aspects of 18th century society, including politics, science, morality, and human nature. The Lilliputians' petty political conflicts mock the trivial disputes of European nations, while the Brobdingnagian king's critique highlights the corruption and barbarism of Western civilization. The Laputans' impractical intellectualism satirizes the excesses of theoretical knowledge, and the Struldbrugs represent the dangers of desiring eternal life. Finally, the Houyhnhnms' rational society exposes the flaws of humanity, as Gulliver's increasing misanthropy shows the difficulty of achieving a balance between reason and emotion. Swift's satire is a powerful commentary on human folly, pride, and the limitations of human knowledge. Let's meet together the main characters of the book. Lemuel Gulliver is the novel's protagonist and narrator, a curious and adventurous Englishman who embarks on a series of voyages that expose him to strange and fantastical worlds. Throughout his travels, Gulliver serves as both an observer and a participant, reflecting on the customs, politics, and philosophies of the various societies he encounters. His character changes over the course of the novel, from a man with typical European attitudes to one who becomes increasingly disillusioned with humanity. By the end of the novel, Gulliver's experiences have turned him into a misanthrope, rejecting human society and finding solace in isolation. The Lilliputians are tiny people, just 6 inches tall, who live in the kingdom of Lilliput. Despite their small size, they possess all the pride, ambition, and pettiness of larger humans. The Lilliputians' political rivalries, such as their war with Blefuscu over how to break an egg, serve as a satirical reflection of the triviality of European politics and conflicts. While the Lilliputians initially treat Gulliver as a guest, their relationship with him quickly becomes strained when he refuses to help them in their conquest of Blefuscu. The Lilliputians represent the absurdity of human pride and the dangers of political corruption. The Brobdingnagians are giants who live in a land where Gulliver is reduced to the size of a small insect in comparison. Unlike the Lilliputians, the Brobdingnagians are a moral and rational people, ruled by a wise and benevolent king. However, their enormous size gives them a different perspective on life, and they view Gulliver's accounts of European society with disgust. The Brobdingnagians, particularly the king, serve as a contrast to the pettiness and corruption of the Lilliputians, offering a critique of European politics and society through their more rational and ethical worldview. The Laputans are inhabitants of a floating island who are obsessed with intellectual pursuits, particularly in the fields of mathematics and music. However, their focus on abstract knowledge leaves them disconnected from practical concerns, and their society suffers as a result. The Laputans' impractical experiments and detachment from reality serve as a satire of the Enlightenment's emphasis on reason and scientific progress. Swift uses the Laputans to critique the dangers of intellectualism that lacks common sense and the consequences of neglecting the needs of the people in favor of theoretical knowledge. The Houyhnhnms are a race of intelligent, rational horses who live in a peaceful, ordered society governed by reason and logic. They have no concept of lying, crime, or greed, and their society is free from the corruption and vice that plague human societies. However, their cold, emotionless nature makes them incapable of compassion or creativity. The Houyhnhnms serve as a contrast to the Yahoos, human-like creatures ruled by their base instincts. While Gulliver comes to admire the Houyhnhnms and view them as a model of ideal society, Swift subtly critiques the limitations of pure reason without emotion or humanity. The Yahoos are brutish, savage, human-like creatures who live in the land of the Houyhnhnms. They are dirty, violent, and ruled by their base instincts, serving as a symbol of the worst aspects of human nature. The Yahoos' behavior disgusts Gulliver, who comes to view humanity as little more than refined Yahoos. The Yahoos represent the dark side of humanity, the capacity for greed, cruelty, and selfishness. Swift uses the Yahoos to critique the hypocrisy and moral corruption of human society, suggesting that humans, when stripped of their reason and civilization, are no better than animals. Let's explore together the main themes and concepts of the book. The corruption of politics. One of the central themes in Gulliver's Travels is the critique of political corruption and power. The political rivalries and conflicts in Lilliput, such as the war over how to break an egg, satirize the trivial and often irrational nature of real-world political disputes. The portrayal of the Lilliputian emperor as an autocratic ruler reflects Swift's condemnation of rulers who prioritize personal power and status over the well-being of their people. Similarly, the King of Brobdingnag's criticism of European politics highlights the contrast between rational governance and the self-serving nature of political leaders in Gulliver's world. The limits of human knowledge. Swift also explores the limits and dangers of human knowledge, particularly in the third voyage to Laputa. The Laputans' obsession with abstract intellectual pursuits serves as a critique of the Enlightenment's focus on reason and scientific progress. While science and intellectualism are valuable, Swift suggests that knowledge divorced from practical application and human values can lead to absurdity and failure. The Laputans' neglect of their country's real-world problems in favor of fruitless experiments demonstrates the folly of intellectual pursuits that lack connection to everyday life. The nature of humanity. Gulliver's final voyage to the land of the Houyhnhnms serves as a meditation on the nature of humanity. The Houyhnhnms, governed by reason and logic, represent an ideal society in contrast to the savage, animalistic yahoos, who symbolize the baser instincts of humans. Gulliver's admiration for the Houyhnhnms and his subsequent disgust for his own species reflect Swift's critique of human nature, its tendency toward greed, selfishness, and cruelty. At the same time, the novel raises questions about the limits of rationality, as the Houyhnhnms' cold, emotionless society lacks compassion and creativity. Swift ultimately critiques both extremes, suggesting that human nature is a complex mix of reason and instinct. Cultural relativism. Throughout his travels, Gulliver encounters vastly different societies, each with its own set of values and norms. His experiences highlight the theme of cultural relativism, as what is considered normal or virtuous in one society is seen as strange or barbaric in another. Gulliver's shifting perspective reflects how one's worldview is shaped by culture and environment. By showing how Gulliver's attitudes change as he moves from one society to the next, Swift critiques the ethnocentric attitudes of his time, suggesting that no single culture or way of life holds the ultimate truth or moral authority. Power and control. Gulliver's Travels also examines the dynamics of power and control in human relationships and societies. In Lilliput, Gulliver's physical size gives him power over the tiny inhabitants, but he is still subject to the whims of the Lilliputian emperor. In Brobdingnag, Gulliver's small size makes him powerless in a world of giants, where he is treated as a curiosity rather than an equal. The Lilliputans exert control over their subjects through intellectual superiority, while the Houyhnhnms maintain their dominance over the Yahoos through reason and logic. The novel reveals the arbitrary nature of power and the ways in which it can be both wielded and subverted. Let's talk about the author. Jonathan Swift, born in 1667 in Dublin, Ireland, was an Anglo-Irish satirist, essayist, and clergyman, best known for his works of political and social satire. His most famous work, Gulliver's Travels, 1726, is a biting critique of human nature, politics, and society, wrapped in the guise of a fantastical adventure. Swift's other notable works include A Modest Proposal, a satirical essay addressing the dire poverty in Ireland, and A Tale of a Tub. Swift's sharp wit, keen social observations, and masterful use of irony and satire earned him a lasting place in literary history. He is considered one of the greatest satirists in the English language. Swift died in 1745, leaving behind a legacy of works that continue to influence literature and social thought. Sincere thanks for watching. If you found this summary helpful, consider taking a moment to hit the subscribe button, like or share the video. If you have any feedbacks or book requests, make sure to leave a comment. Regardless, I wish you a great day.